Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grand final of Bath Comedy Fest 2022, is that right? It is, at last, and it's been a fabulous festival. We've had some fabulous heats, we've got a great standard tonight. We've got 12 contestants in 3 different sections, and to host your evening, I'd like you to welcome to the stage now, Mr. Jeff Whiting.
Great. By the way, there are some chairs at the front, by the way, just to do a bit of admin. Anybody standing, there are some seats here, and you won't get picked on in particular, because there's people already at the front, so you won't miss out. If anybody wants to come and sit in here, do feel free, because there's people standing around at the back. Anyway, I'm Jeff. I'm the compere of this new act final, and the standard is very high. I've been comparing the heats. There's some brilliant people on, so it's going to be great. So I'm here to have a chat with you, really. Feel free to come and sit anywhere down here. There's a seat here, a couple there. There we are, you see. There we are. See, this is the thing. When you tell people to come down to the front, you have to be prepared for the fact they will come to the front while you're still talking, because that's you. You're interrupting. Well, you just told us to come and sit at the front. Well, it's your own fault. There's a couple of seats over here. Well, maybe. Is there? Oh, there's obviously somebody. Oh no. Yeah. If you move up one, Rob, there's 2 seats here, madam. Next to this gentleman here. So I know him, he's harmless. No offence, Rob. Sorry, I'm going to say that. Sounds awful, doesn't it? What kept you, Sati? What kept you, my friend? I know these people as well. Absolutely typical that. Sorry about that, man. You've got one of the tallest people in front of you. Sat Vida here is a friend of mine, and he's now managed to... But that was I had a good view till he turned up. No, it's fine. You can still see. You're all right, brilliant. Are you okay in those seats, guys? You're all right? Yeah. Brilliant, isn't it? Lucky I didn't really ever go at you. It's what always happens when you do comedy, you know. You see 2 people coming, there's silhouette, you say, for God's sake, mate, can you get the 2 people you invited? Do you know what I mean? Everybody else got in time, the people you invite turn up at the last second. Fantastic. We did make it in time, technically. It is one of the dangers of doing comedy. A lot of things, you know, you think, because there's things you tell the audience, and then you end up, for example, if you could turn your mobile phones off or on silent, that would be appreciated. Thanks for the reaction. Thanks for all agreeing to that silently, considering I was talking about keeping the noise down. That's the appropriate reaction. But yes, your phone should either be off or on silent, or airplane mode, whatever you want to call it. Do not disturb and all that, yeah. And the reason I mentioned that is I did a gig in London once, a very good gig actually as well. It was a very good gig, Top Secret. Have you heard of that gig in London? It's a good room, that is. And I was coming from the back of the room, you know, I sat right at the back corner, and then I came on from my seat, straight to the middle, straight on stage to compare the gig. And it was going very well. That first 7 minutes was going very well, better than this. It was going very well. And suddenly this phone rang out, you know. Well, that get loudly. And I said, guys, who is that? You know, nothing much happened. I said, rang again. I said, I don't know if you've been to comedy before, but if you've been before, you should know you don't have your phone on, especially not on, you know, the ringer. Oh, it shouldn't be on. Can you turn that phone off until... Rang again, and I said, right, I said, I'll go to the back and find you if you don't. If you don't, and then the bloke put his hand up. He said, he's coming from this jacket next to me. It's my phone. It was my own phone. I left the ringer on and left it in my jacket on the chair. I was heckling myself. Just unbelievable. So there are a few pitfalls in terms of trying to tell the audience what to do when you think I'm not going to get it right myself. And I do apologise, we have started 10 minutes late tonight. Then that's my fault. I broke down on the way here this evening, and I don't even drive, just very depressed. Cheers, that's the first joke. Just checking out, listening. No, but we have been at Easter. Who's had a good Easter? Oh yes, we've had a good Easter's been pretty good so far. We're still the very last part of Easter, but it has been good. There's been a lot of people on television making announcements of them about what's right and wrong. There are a lot of things going on. I won't get involved in heavy political stuff or anything like that. Don't want to take the mood down, but it is interesting. I noticed the Pope's been touring around, understandably talking about, you know, spreading, well, peace and love. You know, he's been touring around telling people about, you know, resolving conflicts in his bulletproof car. Which is what you need if you're the Pope, I suppose. Have you seen that Pope mobile? It's fantastic, isn't it? Thank you, my friend. Imagine if all the audience were like replicas of that man. That would have stormed that game, wouldn't that, by itself? I thought, fucking hell, that got more than I expected. No, it was just him. Roman Catholic, probably. But it's a very unusual car. But I don't know how. What's the age of the audience? I can gauge the age of the audience, right? Things you can ask the audience to gauge the age. Right? Who here can remember when vans used to be slow? Anybody? Yeah, the days when vans were slow. I mean, if you're a young person, you'll mean nothing to you. You'll think I can't. But if you're an older person, you remember the days when, if you're on the motorway and you overtook a van, that was it. You know, the van would be in the middle lane doing about 75. You'd overtake it. That was it. Now, I don't know what these people are delivering and why it's so urgent. But now, you overtake a van about 80. You're doing about 85. It's up your arse. And you look at the back of this white van, and then you turn up to about 95, it's still up your arse. You pull over, it goes past about 110. You think, what? I mean, I've heard of emergency plumbers, but do they really need to go at that speed? Has anybody else experienced this? Well, you're amazed how fast a van... Anybody at all had this? Because it's not just me. You literally, thank you, my friend. You literally are doing about 100 and a van goes past you and you think, it's a fucking van. In the old days, you know, it'd be some old bloke driving a van along, you know, with a sort of a ladder on the roof, you know, and you go past, you go, all right, nice enough. Now it's there, right, give me the one thing. You know. I mean, I'm expecting to see at the next Grand Prix, do you want me to Lewis Hamilton, apparently, in an unassailable position when a white van comes past him just on the last corner. Saying, fuck you, Hamilton. You know what I mean? Plumbing supplies on the side, do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. But anyway, I lived in Bath for a long time. I don't live in now. Who lives in Bath? Are you all from Bath? Who are people not from Bath? That's easy, isn't it? Where are you from, madam?
Grimsby.
Ooh, that's a long shot, wasn't it? Bloody hell. If I'd been trying to guess, I would have taken a while on that one. Grimsby?
Yeah.
Is that on the coast, isn't it? Yeah. It's a nice little fishing area, is it?
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, you're bound to say that. You come from there. Let's get anybody else been to Grimsby? Doesn't live there? No. I'm trying to get an objective opinion there. I've been there, mate. Didn't like... No, okay. So, Grimsby. So, what are you doing here tonight? What's made you...
Oh, I've got a friend that lives there.
Right. And that's this lady?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And how do you know each other, guys?
Uni?
Uni, yeah. Thank you very much for your contribution. Grimsby. Anybody from further away than Grimsby? What was that? A strangled cry? What was that? Was that a couple where the woman's trying to do a bunch of don't join in, love? And she went, I told you not to join in. Sounds a bit dodgy. I'm sure that was a woman trying to join in to shut it. Was that somebody joining in? Did everybody else hear that? Did I just hear it? Perhaps I was thinking about those poppers before I came on. Did everybody hear that? Did everybody else hear that noise? Yeah. Who was that? I can't believe it. It's frustrating now. I'll still wonder. But tomorrow morning I'll be thinking, I wonder who that person was last night. Bath is a posh place. Would you agree if you live there? Generally posh. I mean, we all know there are bits that aren't quite as posh, but you know, we know. But it's generally posh, isn't it? When I first moved here, about a long time ago, 1997. And I was walking around for the first time in Bath, and I went past quite a large house, and on the pillar next to the gate, was a massive picture of an Alsatian dog, and it said, "Warning, I live here." And I thought, bloody hell, he's eaten both the owners and taken over. The reason I did that gag is that is the first gag I ever told when I first started as a new comedian, in my first ever set, and I thought, fuck it, I'll do it tonight, since it's a new act final. That was in my first 5 minutes, that joke. But I'll tell you, oh no, I won't tell you now. I'll tell you a true story later. Otherwise Nick will say, not the true story, Jeff, we've got a schedule, you know what I mean? But I will, welcome, is that?
Judges.
Oh, the judges. Yeah, what Nick's saying is, don't take the piss. That's what that means, that's the code. Because if you see people coming in, you can't see them probably because the lights are in your eyes, he's saying, judges, you know what I mean? Leave it. Welcome. By the way, I've been brilliant so far, if you'd like to put me through. They'll tell you, woman from Grimsby's loving it. No reaction at all. This is the sort of hard-ass bastards that you've got judging these people. The sympathy goes to the acts, doesn't it? When they hear that, they think, no banter with the compere at all. Cold, icy stares, do you know? And he's just the compere, he's not in the competition. But no, that's fine. I was in the final of that competition once, but yeah. Thanks for your support. Yeah, that was 1998. Yeah, shows how quickly I've gone on since then, doesn't it? Most people that were in New Act Files in 1998 have gone on to win Golden Globes, things like that. I'm still doing this. What a trooper, you know? There's no way I'm selling out like Stephen Merchant did. You know, we were both in that farm together. Neither of us got placed, by the way. I hate to add, neither of us got placed. So don't get carried away. Steve Merchant didn't come first and third. He wasn't placed, nor was I. And he was quite annoyed. He said, I thought you did well there, Jeff. I thought I'd get to your top three, you know. I said, well, don't worry, Steve, you'll probably do all right. He said, well, I did all, mate, you know. I might not get another crack at this. Yeah, that's Steve Merchant, Golden Globe winner, Oscar, BAFTAs, you know me, he's won everything, multi-millionaire. The sound of my career. Cheers. Anyway, I didn't think they'd give me that. I said, can I get a very squeaky microphone stand? There's a bit I want to do with a squeaky microphone stand. He's brilliant, this guy. I said, you know, because I just thought it might be good to talk about a career. Sounds a bit like something, you know. Or if I'm going to talk about drinking wine. You know, you're trying to open a bottle of wine. And then some of the cork stays at the bottom. You're like, oh, fuck. Do you know what I mean? And he's done it. Thanks very much. Brilliant. Yeah. Oh, I must say, I didn't think he'd bother. Right, anyway, better go on with the show. So, I'll be back. You will be glad or not glad to know, depending who you are and what you think of it so far. Are all the judges here, by the way, so we're ready?
Yes.
Fantastic, because obviously do need them all here. Otherwise, you know, it's like litigious comedians. When they say, I found out when I was on, the one judge was missing. Didn't see my set, but it's right, they're all here, so it's fine. They're all fully here, yeah. It's not easy judging these things. Would you like to judge? I'm not asking you to judge, by the way. We've got people who specialists to do that, by the way. We have judges for the world of television. Radio. Yeah. We have people, expert comics who've played all the top clubs of the country and presented on television. We have comedy course leaders, comedy club promoters, act mentors, yeah. And we have Nick Still. When I say that, sorry, that didn't sound right like that. Sorry when I put it like that. What I mean is, you already know him, that's what I mean. I mean, those are the four you didn't know about. I mean, Nick Still's the festival director, so obviously I assume that you already might know, and that Nick Still as well, judging, who's the festival director.
Well, I've judged you already, mate.
Yeah, I know you have. I knew Nick would have an offstage mic. We'll be doing this next year as a double act. We'll plan the whole thing in advance. So anyway, the first act's going to come on now. It's not easy going on first, as you can probably imagine. Nobody really wants to go on first. It's a bit like an orgy. No one wants to go on first or last. But somebody has to. Well, I say has to. I mean, I've never been to an orgy, but having this competition they have to. I have no idea about the orgy. That was just a sort of reference point. So the first act's coming on now. So please, we have lots of. By the way, there are 4 acts in each section. I'm just reminding. I know Nick mentioned it. Just so you know, 4 acts, then a break, another 4 acts, then a break, another 4 acts, then a guest spot from Mr. Matt Richardson to entertain you while the judges deliberate, and then the results. Just making sure that you all know that. Thank you very much. Okay, right.
That's wrong. The guest spot will be from last year's winner, Bennett Kavanagh.
Oh, is it? Okay.
There's Matt Richardson as a guest judge.
Yeah. Oh, God, I can't believe it. Seriously?
Seriously.
It's got pulled. By the way, this isn't scripted, by the way, in case you think.
That show is
that banter was so scripted, it was so realistic, it looked like they were genuinely talking. No, that's a real conversation. I genuinely. Sorry about that, Matt. I thought you were going to. Sorry about that, I do apologise. Well, I was pretty close. I got it all right, apart from that. Okay, Matt's the judge. I already mentioned, I did say. Well, I have a guest spot from last year's winner, Bennett Kavanagh. Followed by anyway, that's the big. Yes, right. So. Cheers, Nick. I might have been it wrong, but I feel my flow's being interrupted now. You know what I mean? The flow. You know, I'm just getting. I don't know.
Start again.
I'm going to.
Stop it.
I was about to start the gig. I was just a bit with them. I thought, we've got the right mood. They're up for it. They're ready. The 4 blokes standing there ready to come on. And Nick said, no, Jeff, don't stop it there. It's not Matt Richardson. It's Benny Kavanagh. Oh, fucking atmosphere. Anyway, first act. I've told you this about 8 times. Come here, some noise for the first act here, Mr. Adam Flood. Put it up for Adam Flood.
Lovely to be here in the golden spot. Wow, nice to hear that this is not a good place to be. Good stuff. Nice to be. I'm feeling a bit disappointed because last week I got my hair cut. And when the bloke asked me what I wanted, I just can't remember showing him a picture of a Benedictine monk. He finished up and I was like, oh my God. Shit! When the wind gets at it, it looks like a barcode. Jesus Christ. No, nice to be here. I'm not from round here. I come from a place called Stoke-on-Trent. Anyone in a fan of shitholes? Woo! Oh yeah. You raised your hand very politely. What's your favourite shithole, my friend?
Well, I'm from Glasgow. So
You're from Glasgow? Top drums. Yeah. You know it, man. I quite like growing up in Stoke because if you move anywhere else, it was a massive upgrade. Rocking up in Swindon like la-dee-da. I live in London now, and it can be quite stressful, to be honest. I got kicked out of my flat, living there, fell out on my landlord. He called me up, he was like, Adam, your rent payments are outstanding. I was like, I didn't know I'd paid, but thank you. Thank you. Kicked me out, ended up living with two mates from uni, right? I was looking forward to it. I thought it was going to be like back in the day. Back then, we liked all the same sort of music with the drum and bass. We liked all the same sort of food with the Tesco meal deals. We even had the same sort of physiological disposition with the violent reactions to ketamine. They're very boring though now. They're so boring. They ask me questions like, Adam, are you a cat person or a dog person? Cat person or dog? Neither! Idiots, given the choice, I'd be a horse person. Or centaur, as they're called. Galloping around the fields. I'm a big old horse willy. Taking ketamine, legitimately. Big drug audience in on Monday. Lovely. One slow clap, someone literally on K at the back. Trying his best. This is so nice, man. I like that we can all get together now after what the whole sort of few years we've had in it. It makes me think, when I look at all that time, I think life is like a box of lobsters. You think it's going to be chocolates, then, wow, it's lobsters, you know? I do miss some things about the old COVID times, though, like getting emails from businesses using a deadly virus to sell us their bullshit. Remember getting them emails like, Adam, it's been a tough year for us, hasn't it? In it together, trying to survive, hoping our families don't die. That's why this Thursday, it's 2 for 1 on stuffed crust. Piss off, Papa John's! It's as cynical as businesses trying to use Pride Month to get you on board, rocking up like, hey, it's us, Lloyd's the bank. We've turned our horse into a gay horse now, so come get a big gay overdraft. I tell you what else I miss, doing the smallest amount of exercise physically possible every single day. I am on my daily walk, I do the same thing every day, but sometimes I sing along to my music and pretend I'm a pop star, but then I see my friend and pretend that I'm on a work call again. Until they've gone, then I'm back being the pop star, the best one that you probably ever heard today. Thank you very much. If you're wondering what this is, it's auto-tune. Is it too much for 20 seconds in my stand-up set? Yes. It cost me £350, which is more than the fee if you win this gig. So, give me a cheer, by the way, if in the lockdowns you had some issues with your mental health. Well, I didn't, you bloody losers. No, I did, quite clearly, I mean, yeah. I had a little breakdown, a breaky D, a break dizzle, but I'm feeling better now. I got one of those well-being apps, you know, Deliveroo, comfort eating, so I'm feeling much better. But it's mainly about, I think, looking after your physical health as well as your mental. I tried to quit smoking. My mate recommended hypnotherapy, and I was sceptical because I'm not a medieval peasant. I might now look like one, but I'm not, right? I went along, and when I got there, I saw this bloke who looked exactly like I imagined a hypnotherapist to look. If you can't picture that, imagine a flamboyant paedophile. Or a snooker player, same vibe. It's the same. It's the same vibe. Big collar, yes. A floral waistcoat, yeah. And a goatee, yeah. Right, he looked the part and he's like, imagine you're in an enchanted forest. The sun is hitting your face, you have not a care in the world. Don't smoke. What? I can hear what you're doing, mate. Do you want to know the mad thing? I haven't smoked since. Isn't that the most weak-willed beta male thing? To be convinced by a man with a goatee? The weakest attempt at a manly aesthetic. Do you know what I mean? Is anyone here with a goatee? No, because they're all at home, letting a stranger fuck their wives. out of nowhere, that. This is really fun. I'm having a great... I love doing this job. Well, I say job, I do have to do another one on the side, otherwise I'd die of starvation. I work in an office, but it's an office job for young people. It's called a startup. It's a kind of vibe where they're like, you don't get a pension, but you do get a free Coke Zero every day, so hashtag yes, please. That's me. I don't know, I don't really love the job. It's hard to love a job. I think the only people that I've ever seen truly love their job is a train conductor when they're on the train announcements, you know? When those guys are on the mic, they are on the hype. You ever hear them like, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on board the 12:15 train to Liverpool Lime Street. If, like me, you have a sweet tooth, you will find a sensational refreshment. Damn manager shimmies. Am I saying that right? And if, like me, you have IBS, you will find toilets all along the train. All things being well and good and no acts of God, we shall be arriving into the home of George, Ringo, Paul and Jonathan at 8:55 British summertime, if you can believe that, in today's weather. I will be coming on the train to collect your tickets and tempt you to some idle chit-chat because my wife has left me. Please, have your tickets ready, wear your face masks, and always check your wife's text messages. It's the dream job. It's the dream job. I'm going to go in a second. I didn't really know what sort of job I'd end up doing. My school wasn't a particularly good school. I say school, it was more a hospice for our dying hopes and dreams. Although one time they did put on this career event to inspire us, right? And at the time, my teacher, she said to me, Adam! What are your choices? Just a small note, I've changed her accent to protect her identity. So, these are the 3 choices that Mrs. Egley allowed us to do, right? Legit. Chinese, line dancing, and falconry. Legit, honestly, did you see them come through? Like, yeah, that's the holy trinity of employability. I can't wait to see what he does with those in like 15 years' time. Wu Li Ching Mama, boot scooting baby is driving. Session for a western. Come on, catch my Romeo. Cut me down from head to toe. Wanna make you mine, wanna get in line. Wu Li Ching Mama. Oh, guys, lovely. I'll be having fun. Ta-ra!
Very good stuff from Adam Flood there. Setting the bar high there, Adam, on that set, I think. Yeah. But we're going to keep it going. A lot of people to come. 11 more to come, if you're counting. Got that right. No interruption. You know, it's only got it right. So, second act coming straight on now. Give us some more noise in the room for Alex Dixon.
Man, yeah, my name's Alex. I quite like the name Alex. I just don't have like one of those new names. Like, I don't know if you've met a kid recently. Like, they've all got a unique name. Like, I work in a school like Monday to Wednesday, and like I've never met a kid. They've all got unique names. Like every kid I teach is called like Brazil Nut. Or like Zanti 2016. And they've always got like a reason or like justification by their name as well. They're always like, oh yeah, my name's actually September. Because I was actually born into a family of wankers, like they always like try and justify. Yeah, it's I teach up in Bristol. I genuinely teach a kid whose first name is Colston. Like fuck me, you just got to change that. Like you can't go by Colston anymore. Like we're still going by it. Like a couple of months ago, like his mates started giving him shit for it for like the first time because they're woke Bristol kids. So they started he started getting quite upset, not really knowing why people were taking the piss out of his name. So all the teachers had to have like a meeting, like what we're going to do about Colston. And they all turned to me because I'm like the young liberal teacher, like what are you going to do? And I was like, well, I don't know, what do you want me to do? And they're like, well, do something. So I had to like go to his classroom, I had to take him out of lessons, I took him on a little walk, I just kicked him in the river. He's got to learn. He's got to learn. I was like, this is Bristol, bang! Get in there, you racist little cunt, I'm not having it. Just change it, mate. He's changed it now. It's a Bristol beacon, weirdly. It's weird. I'm not sure about it. I like my name, but I'm not quite sure. You have to abbreviate it as Alex. You have to abbreviate it to make it socially acceptable. Like, because my full name's Alexander. And that's a prick's name. Like, you can't go by Alexander in real life. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, say if you're meeting like your ex's new boyfriend, like, I don't know, maybe you're in hell. And And he's like, oh yeah, meet my new boyfriend, he's called Alex. I'd be like, well, you know, he might be a nice guy, I'll come meet him. He was like, oh yeah, meet my new boyfriend, he's called Alexander. Even though that's my name, I'll be like, well, he sounds like a prick. Like, that is... Like, if you have to abbreviate a name to make it socially acceptable, that's not a good name. Like, Alex is fine, Alexander, no. Like, Reg, classic example. Like, Reg is cool, yeah. But Reginald, oh, I'll help you organise your library. Reginald. Like, I've got a friend called Aid. Like, yeah, bring Aid round. Bring Aid to the party. Adolf, yikes. Who invited Adolf round? Get him out of here. I don't know. I quite enjoyed working in school. I'm just a teaching assistant, I should say that. I'm not a proper teacher. No, I didn't realise how unqualified teaching assistants are until I became one. You just say you want to do it, they just put you in school like the next day. Like, I've got no qualifications at all to be a teaching assistant. Like, none. Like, I've got no qualifications. Like, my only qualification for being a teaching assistant is that I'm not a paedophile. Like, and between you and me, mate, like, they barely check. It's insane. I don't know. I quite enjoy it though. I don't know if you got any teachers in Easter holidays and that, but like, my favourite thing about it, teaching phonics to Bristolian kids is the funniest thing I've ever done. So I don't know if you guys ever taught phonics before. The way you do it, like you hold up like a letter, and then we're going to say the sound. But in Bristol's amazing because they say all the Bristol way. So like, you hold it like an R, and they're all like R. You hold up an A, they're all like A. And then you hold up a K and they all go. That's true, man. I was there. I don't know. I quite enjoy it. It's not a very sexy job though. Like teaching's sexy. Like people fancy teachers. People have like sexual fantasy about teachers. People want to sleep with teachers all the time. Like no one's having a sexual fantasy about sleeping with a TA. Like what's that going to be? Like oh, what are you going to do to me? I have to be like oh, probably fetch someone more senior. Like that's not. Into that, and that's not. No one's into that. I don't know. I don't really trust sexy people. I mean, like the job sex therapist. I don't really trust. Like, who is a sex therapist for someone who mid-bang has gone, I'm so good at this. I should tell the others. Like, that's an insane thing to think. Like, I think all sex therapists, those kids at school who pretend to know everything about sex even though they're still virgins. Like, oh, you got to stick the balls in, like those people. Like, I think those are the people who go on to become sex therapists. They've still never had sex, but like, they're sat in chairs, like, people come in with genuine problems and they're sat trying to give advice to them on the playground when they're 12 years old. Like if someone comes in like, oh, it's really bad, like, I can't ejaculate my wife, and they're sat there like, ooh, you're probably a gaylord. Like, she's probably frigid, mate, honestly. I don't know. The kids I teach, they're very different from when I was a kid. Like, I grew up in Devon, like proper rural Devon. But like, when the kids use language, I find insane. Like, just like bonkers. Like, I heard a little Year 7 the other week chat to his little Year 7 mate about his little Year 7 girlfriend. And he's like, oh yeah, she's amazing, right? I love her so much. This girl's a real bad bitch. Like, bad bitch, I don't know about you guys. I wouldn't want to date, like, a normal bitch. Like, let alone a bad one. She sounds awful. I understand what's happened. Like, quite often in English, we use, like, bad words to mean, like, really, really good things. So I think it started with things like sick and wicked and mental, and it's progressed to stuff like bad bitch. But, like, that just seems like an odd thing about someone you love. Like, how bad do the words have to go? Like, in 10 years' time, I'm going to go and chat to my mates about their partners, being like, oh, what's she like, man? It's like, oh, yeah, I love her so much. I think we're going to get married. I think we're going to move in together. She's the best. She's my favourite person in the world. This girl's not just a bad bitch. Like, this girl's a real awful racist whore. Like, the things she does in the bedroom, she's a Nazi. But like, bad words to mean good things, we do it all the time. Like, I don't know if you, every single pub and restaurant I walk into now seems to have on the menu like a dirty burger and dirty fries. Like 10 years ago, if you offered me a dirty burger, I'd be like, no, get me a clean one. And now I'm like, oh, that means extra onion rings or some bullshit. I went to a place the other day and I saw filthy fries. Like, filthy fries. I didn't even bat an eyelid. I could go out now, it's what, Bath on a Monday night. Someone could offer me anal prolapse chips. And I'll be like, comes to spaghetti hoops. So that's what I think. Not pissing about. I don't know. I never felt that sexy. I got myself big news last year though. I got myself a girlfriend. That's a big day out. Big. Thanks, mate. Feels patronising. Big day out. Like it's one of those relationships. My mates started getting annoyed. They started to get like take the mick a little bit, like I'm whipped and stuff like that. And sort of started to take the piss. For Christmas, they got me a book on codependency. Well, that's pretty passive-aggressive, isn't it? I don't even think we are. I've started reading the book. I haven't finished it yet because we're reading it together. But I don't even think we are. I think they're taking the piss. I know. I'm pretty sure that's my time. But you guys have been really, really sound. You've got tons of comedians coming up. So have a good night. I've been Alex Kitson. Hopefully I'll see you again. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Alex Kitson. Yeah, already looking around the room, I can see a few judgmental faces. We've only had 2 acts, I can tell there's something which we're thinking, oh no, which one? You've got another 10 to come. So, right, next one coming up now. We're going to keep this moving, yeah? I've been chatting just before we started section on now. We're going to bring the next act up. So can we have some noise to welcome Samantha Day?
Start by coming clean. This place is 20 times funkier than anywhere I go in my actual life. But I love all the little signs all around, the neon signs. In my house I've just got a little sign that says pretty woman. And that's just there to remind me that if I wanted to, I could be a prostitute. I'm not saying I'd be good at it, I'd be shit actually. So I'm not very good at finishing things. Since you asked, though, my favourite position in bed, and stop going on about it, is right up against the headboard, right? On my laptop. Oh, I love it. It's so exciting, isn't it? The old internet shopping. There's a laugh of recognition down here. And sometimes I do worry about my carbon footprint. But then I think, no, hang on a minute, Sam. You've gone out of your way to look like an environmentalist. Now it's time for other people to do their bit. Can't do it all alone, can I? You can probably tell by looking at me, actually, that I am a recovering accountant. I am. I had a very nasty bout of it. It lasted for 30 years. What's that? I don't look old enough, sir. Oh, thank you. How old do you think I look? Exactly, about 35. So, right, the reason I look 35, I'm actually 53. It's amazing. Isn't it amazing how good I look? The reason I look 35, right, is because beauty comes from within. It doesn't. Beauty comes from Botox. And I've had fucking loads of it. I've had a full Botox, filler, all stuff above the neck, my love. Nothing on the body. It's like there's been a very expensive loft conversion. And the rest of the house, very much shabby chic. We did think at one point, my darling, that I might have a damp problem. But my husband has checked me closely for damp, and it's very good news. I'm completely dry. Oh, thank God, thank God. Now, I wouldn't want you guys, by the way, to think that I slept my way to the top, because no, I did not do that. I slept my way to the middle, right? And then my last 2 bosses didn't fancy me, which is like really disgusting, because it meant that I had to do some work. That is not how I roll. No, I have a dream, actually, a bit like Martin Luther King. I have a dream that in the future we'll all be treated the same at work, yeah? And bosses will sleep with all of their staff, whether they fancy them or not. Because I'm into like causes and movements, you know, I'm really into the old hashtag Me Too thing, and it's really important. When I was 35, I was more hashtag Me Too Please. But now, you know, now I'm Me Too tired. That's what happened. But I think the reason I didn't get right to the top was that my boss Gavin used to try and motivate me using inspirational quotes. And it was just a real shame because I'm actually motivated by money. As are so many of you from that laugh. And who here has ever been motivated by a quote? The daft ones over there. But basically, no one. There was one come through on my mum's Facebook this morning. It said, "It's never too late to become a rock star." For God's sake, Sue is 78. Of course it's too late for Sue to become a rock star. Although she does take a lot of drugs. Mainly statins. And a little bit, actually, of recreational Imodium. Can't get her off the stuff, or the bog. No, can't. But Gavin's favourite quote was actually a Gandhi one, which was really surprising because he was very right-wing. And actually, I don't think he'd even seen the film. But it was, "Samantha, you need to be the change you want to see in the world." And I was like, "Oh, Gavin, how can I be you going under a bus?" Any sense at all. And then there was like this horrible misunderstanding, which was not my fault because I didn't even know my laptop camera was still on. And he thought I called him a runt, and I hadn't. I called him something else. So then I had to go and see this woman called Mary who works in HR. Have we got anyone from from HR here? No, good. Because I'm going to tell you something now. Everyone who works in HR, simply as a point of fact, is a serial killer. They smile, don't they? Even when they're about to really fuck you up. So Mary's there, smiling her head off, tilting her head like a cunt, and she says, "Oh, Samantha, I'm terribly sorry, but you have not met expectations." So the funny thing is, Mary, I didn't actually expect to. So in that sense, I have. I think I was a bit too clever for Mary, if I'm honest with you. But the best thing about being an accountant was, of course, the client entertaining. That is where you get to meet some truly, really interesting wines. And you're going to need those wines to get through those networking events, believe me, especially the breakfast ones. Oh my God. And I got to the stage where I started to associate all networking with drinking. A mother and toddler group is networking, actually. But when you are an addict, an alcoholic, it's with you for life. Now, I haven't had a drink for 17 years. Woo! But it never leaves you. It's a badge you get to keep, and not everyone understands that. And the other night, at the end of the show, I'd done this big, long bit on alcohol, and this guy came up to me, and he introduced himself as Barry, which I thought was a terrible start. And he goes to me, "You're not an alcoholic, because if you ain't drinking, then you're not a drinker, are you?" I said, "Well, I don't know, Barry, you know. You're not currently wanking, are you?" That is a joke, he was wanking. Right going for it, he was. But you know when you see a really good comedian, if you can imagine such a thing happening to you at any point, you know now. What they do is right at the end, right? They call back to something they said right at the beginning, and it's just so it's lush when they do that. I haven't done that, and I'll tell you why I think I haven't done it. I think it's because I'm not very good at finishing things. That's Samantha Day, thank you.
Samantha Day. Good stuff, isn't it? This is a new act competition. You have to remind yourself of that, do you know what I mean? I've done a lot of gigs, this is 3 acts into a new act competition. This is good, believe me. I've compared a lot of gigs, loads of gigs, with a lot of people, and this is good. So, one more to come before the break. So can we have some extra noise for this last act in this section, Mr. Tom Hutchinson, thank you!
Hello, Ross. How are we doing? We all well? Hey! God, you're a rambunctious bunch. I love it. It's all right, I've only... Right, okay, weird. The rest of this vibe is really like New York Comedy Club, and then I get here and it's like Dudley Village Hall. I mean, it's a really weird material. I don't know whether to start telling jokes or like do a tombola. Just on stage. We'll win a meat raffle. It's lovely to be back in Bath. Are we all from Bath, yeah? Yeah. Mixed reaction. The ones who were here like it. All right, I like that. It's a nice noise. You don't always get that. I was doing a gig in Swansea. I was like, oh, do we all live in Swansea? And one bloke in the front row just went, for now. I like that. I've hailed from Bristol today. How do we feel about Bristol? Yeah or no? It's because it's better. It's a lovely place, land of graffiti. Well, I get to walk past a piece of graffiti every day that just warms my heart. It's beautiful. Right? It starts very simple, just says "fuck Boris Johnson," and I'm like, oh, yeah. Not the punchline, sir, but you are on my wavelength. Love you. Let's grab a pint. It starts very simple. It does just say "fuck Boris Johnson," but then right, someone's responded to it, and they've just written "no." I love a debate, meeting of the minds, it's beautiful. It's like most things you see around Bristol. Like, Bristol's a very left-leaning, very progressive city. Like, at the moment in Bristol, there is this sign campaign around town trying to teach men how to behave on nights out, which is very much needed, right? But they have really dialed into their target market. You can't miss it when you leave the station, because you get greeted by a big sign that just says, "Don't be a creep." And it's like, yeah, that's about right, you're on market. It's just like 1 syllables for a group of people who realistically don't know how to read. That's fine. Like, my favourite one is in town. There is a sign that just says, "Don't spike." Yeah. Don't spike. And it's like, yeah, I'm on board with that message, but if you're the type of wanker who would be spiking of an evening, are you really walking past that with your group of lads being like, "Fair point, well made, sign." All right. Son of a bitch, I have sinned! My God! I'm gonna throw the rehypnol away, no! I better catch up to the boys and tell them, shit, like, no one's having a Road to Damascus flash outside Primark. It's not happening at all. Right? The worst thing is about those signs, I've done enough jokes about them now that other comedians are taking photos of them and then tagging me in them on Facebook. And it is not good for the brand. It's very bad. Like, Tom was tagged in a photo. "Don't be a creep." Right? No context, no caption, nothing. Tom was tagged in a photo. "Don't spike." Awful, terrible. The worst one, I had a phone call with my mum 3 days ago. She's like, "Tom, we've been seeing some troubling photos appear on your Facebook recently. Do you care to mention what that's about?" I realised it was because that morning I'd been tagged and it said, "Tom was tagged in a photo. Stay away from the river." So my mum now thinks I'm a creepy rehypnol-using body dumper, of all things. It's fucking horrible. I had a proper anxiety spiral about it, like real overthinking. Like, do we have any other overthinkers in the room? Overthinkers? Do you see how utterly non-committed those people were to it? There are other closeted overthinkers in the room sat there just like in silence, just going, "Do I yell? Do I not? I don't understand. Why is he doing this? What's going on? I think I should go to bed. Does he hate me? Does everybody hate me? I'm going to throw myself off the way. Something's very wrong. You are my people. I'm here." I'm a proper overthinker. Like, fellow overthinkers, do you have this when you're like, you don't know if something is weird, or if you just thought about it for so long, you've made it very weird? Yeah? Like, I had a thing recently where it was a fine situation, but I cannot stop thinking about it. And I'm pretty sure it's the oddest thing that I've ever seen. It was a date, that's not the weird thing, things were fine. And it was going quite well. We came back to mine, and like a true gentleman, I'm a nice boy, I offered her a drink. She said yes. I thought, smashing this. Excellent. She clearly hasn't seen the tagged photos. She thinks it's safe to take a drink from me. We're fine. And I was like, okay, what would you like? And she said, "Could I please have a cup of just boiling water. That is weird, right? I'm not alone on that. I was really good, like, with what, as a beverage to drink? What the fuck is wrong with you, woman? Like, you making a tiny cup of tortellini? What do you need this for? Like, no tea, no coffee, just naked, scalding moisture? This is what you want? It's horrible. Like, that to me is the unhinged behaviour of like an alien that is trying to disguise itself as human. And it's like, it's tangentially aware that people drink hot drinks, but it hasn't yet probed enough information to learn about tea bags at all. It's like it's just surrounded by people just, yes, our favourite fellow human drink, hot moist, delicious. The shit out of me. But the worst thing was, I acquiesced to this perverse request, right? Bought the kettle, put it in a glass, gave it to her. She drank it and then had the audacity to go like, ooh, a bit hot. That is one of the two things you should have expected from this beverage. Oh dear. Be honest, is that a red flag? Shall I see this person again? Yeah, your name? No. No, a big, strong response from you. Sorry to disappoint you, I've seen her for 3 months. I can't be picky, I can't. I'm aware I'm not much of a catch at all. Like, my friends poignantly remind me of it every single day. The other day, my friend likened my vibe to Kinky Tintin, which is really good. Not nice. I'm trying to avoid the comparison if I see a small dog across the street, just so that no one sees us together. No. I had it made me quite insecure, and like, I'm already rife with them, frankly. Like, I'm like one of those people you see on the back of an electric scooter. I can't take any more back here. I'm very full, and something bad will happen. It's awful. Like, the other day I was in the gym, and I was just kind of, checking the mirror, see what points needed work. And like, I've noticed, oh my God, I just don't have an arse. It's just not there. It's horrible. I'm kind of a medical marvel. It's just back, legs. This is all I have. I'm like a Lego man proportion. It's awful. Like, it then I started flashing back to him, and I was like, oh my God, I really don't. Like, there was this horribly true one time I was having sex with a girl. She tried to grab my arse. She slipped off. It's like trying to keep hold of a surfboard. It was terrible. Just, oh, Jesus Christ. It's awful, man. Jesus. No, I'm well aware I'm not a catch, and I really should try and like catch up to my friends, because they're all having kids, they're settling down, they're moving away, and like, I'm at such a different point in my life. They're trying to have children. I'm still trying to work out what the cheapest brand of condom I can get away with is, Well, I'm an Aldi looking at the own brands. Just in the middle aisle, just like, ooh, Jonathan's. And 60p, dare I risk it? Don't risk it. Don't do it. The structural integrity of those are terrible. Honestly, it's like trying to keep salad cream in a crochet sock. It's awful. It does not work. They're all having kids predominantly because they all stayed in like the very small town that I grew up in. Do we have any like proper country bumpkins in? Anyone? No, because this is too many people and they'd be terrified. They were to stay in the thatched cottage where we belong, with the wicker. No, I came up from like a very, very tiny town, and they all stayed there, and you can like, everyone deals with the madness of it a little bit differently, right? Everybody does. My dad's way of dealing with the madness of living in a hamlet was he bought utterly needless gadgets. It's a very middle-aged man thing to do, right? The nadir of which very much was he bought 2 electric salt and pepper shakers. Doesn't need automating at all. They were fucking horrible things, right? They were enormous steel rods with a button on the top. You pressed it and it made a noise like a Beyblade going down a fucking well. It was always like awful. And it would fling pepper at like police brutality levels across the table. Like a monsoon of flavour you've never seen. And it was accompanied with, I think this is a nice touch, a spotlight. Just in case you were planning to eat in pitch black darkness at any point. Really. That's how he dealt with it. How I dealt with the madness was I took his salt and pepper shakers and I invented a game. I know. There you go. One person from a panto crowd. Everyone else is like, carry on, funny man. Let's see what the fuck you've got. No, one evening, I was about 15 years old. My friend took salt. I took pepper. He went into the lounge, I went all the way upstairs into my parents' bedroom, and we turned off all the lights in the house as we went. And then the game began. 2 very simple rules in the game. Rule number 1, under no circumstances do you turn on any of the lights. And rule number 2, the winner of the game was the first person to season the other man. And it was fucking brilliant. So you realise very quickly, oh, this is good game design. Like, because if you want to see where you're going, you have to utilise the spotlight and tactically season as you walk, just to look around. Like, it sets up these tense encounters. You think you're in fucking Black Pepper Ops. Like, you're on the stairs, and I was thinking, oh, my friend's definitely in the hall, let's have a look. So I kind of cautiously peppered, went, hello there. He wasn't there. But what was chilled me to my very bone to this day. Because what was there instead were 4 perfectly neat piles of salt leading directly to where I was standing. And I realised, oh, this is a trap. Oh no. Turns out he had been behind me on the stairs for so long that he'd come up with a James Bond-esque kill line. To the point where I turned around and I looked at him, grinning in the darkness with the salty sword of Damocles above my head. And I looked up at him and he just went, "Don't be salty, little snail." And it's just terrifying. The reason I like telling that story the most is that half the audience are going, oh, that's a nice flight of fancy, that was a nice bit of whimsy, and everyone else is turning to their partner going, we have to fucking play this game now. Oh my god. You've been lovely, I've been Tom Hutchinson, I'll see you all very soon, good night.
Tom Hutchinson. Alright, so we have had the first 4 candidates, contestants, whatever. So 8 to go still. Don't forget, 8 more to go. Yeah, it's going to be a close one tonight. 8 more to come. So let's go up for the extra scene so far. Adam Flum was on first tonight. Alex Gibson was on second. Samantha Day and Tom Hutchinson. We'll be back after the break. Thanks a lot.